Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tanya Phillips, the Director of the UK Office of Technology Commercialization, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the UK Entrepreneur Showcase. This is an opportunity for UK alumni and faculty to showcase their entrepreneurial experiences, technologies, and/or startups, and to make some connections. We have an awesome lineup of presentations that are indicative of the innovation and creativity that is strong here on our campus and amongst our UK alums. A few of the presenters are newly minted entrepreneurs, others are somewhat seasoned. However, all of them are inspiring. And speaking of inspiring, later in the program, we're going to honor Davis Marksberry with the Lee T. Todd Jr. Lifetime Achievement in Entrepreneurship Award. UK is a part of a fast-growing trend in higher education toward creation of startups from university innovations. According to Autumn, the industry organization for tech transfer professionals, over 1,000 new startups are spun out of universities in the US each year, contributing over $591 billion to gross domestic product. UK OTC has a mission to advance innovation that makes a difference. We work diligently to provide a nurturing and supportive environment where the entrepreneurial spirit of our faculty, staff, and students can flourish. We have a very unique to industry organizational structure and an approach that allows us to capitalize on team expertise and to provide great service and support to our innovators. We have a very knowledgeable and hardworking team. They teach, guide, and coach our campus entrepreneurs, helping them to turn their innovations into startups. Our intellectual property development team is led by Matt Upton, a patent attorney. Our contracts team is led by Eric Caslin, also an attorney. Our commercialization team is led by Eric Hartman, an entrepreneur and startup founder himself. Our newest team, Social Innovation, is led by Dr. Serenity Wright, who is focused on inclusive innovation and creating equitable access to entrepreneurship and innovation training. Complementing what OTC does is Launch Blue. It is led by Executive Director Laura Halligan. Launch Blue has a dual focus of working with both UK innovators through the UXL program and startups outside of UK. Through the premier pre-seed startup accelerator in the region, and we are, since its inception in 2020, Launch Blue has had 63 startups and technologies go through the program, 14 companies planning a capital raise, and this is a very important key indicator for program success for us. 32% of the teams or companies have been female-led and 41% have been minority-led, which is important to us in terms of being intentional about inclusive innovation. If you would like to see some of these Launch Blue program startups in action, consider attending our demo day on June 15th at 2 p.m. on Stonks, a national platform where investment interest occurs real time as the companies are making their pitches. We have 9 companies participating. They are seeking $5.4 million in dilutive funding. 2 of the companies are UK spinouts, Neocycle and Sally Coping Kit. All 9 companies have open investment rounds. So if you have some extra cash laying around you want to invest, they are open for investment. 6 are seed stage, raising $500,000 or more, and 3 of the 9 are pre-seed stage, raising lesser amounts. Also, if you are an innovator out there and you're a UK faculty member or staff or student, and you want to participate in the UXL program, applications are open for the fall cohort on July the 1st, and there is an informational on July 20th at 12:30 p.m. If you're interested in participating in the Launch Blue Pre-Seed Accelerator, the fall cohort applications open on June 22nd, and there's an informational on June 29th at 12 p.m. All of this information is provided for you in the chat. Many of the UK spin-out companies are growing and thriving here in the Lexington area. PowerTech Water, a water purification technology company, is one that continues to succeed. After raising $6 million in a Series A funding round last year, they recently had a ribbon cutting for a new and much larger facility here in Lexington. Lepodex, Redleaf Biologics, and Hummingbird Nano are others that are experiencing success here in the area. As these companies grow, they are adding high skill, high wage jobs, and they're contributing to the local and state economies. Today is a celebration of the entrepreneurial spirit on our campus and with our alumni around the world. Through the UK Entrepreneur Showcase, we are connecting with UK alumni who have scalable startups. We look forward to continuing our work with the UK Alumni Association to identify and showcase more of these individuals and companies and to provide role models for our companies here on campus. I would like to thank Ian McClure. Ian is the Associate Vice President for Research, Innovation, and Economic Impact and the Executive Director of UK Innovate. He provides oversight of UK Innovate, which includes OTC, as well as UK Innovation Connect for industry partnerships and innovation and entrepreneurship training. Ian came to UK almost 6 years ago, and we have not been the same since. OTC was an office of 6. It is now an office of 17 full-time team members with over 15 graduate and undergraduate students who do critical work for us. I am personally appreciative of Ian's support as I stepped into this role of OTC director a little over a year ago. Ian would have loved to be here today, but due to a family emergency, he was unable to participate. I would also like to thank Dr. Lisa Cassis, the Vice President for Research, and President Capilouto. They continue to be supportive and encouraging as we work to commercialize UK research and engage our innovators in entrepreneurial activities. President Capilouto is with us today and to provide remarks. And just a brief introduction, he became the 12th president of the University of Kentucky on July the 1st of 2011. Under his leadership, the Commonwealth's flagship and land-grant research institution has grown in total operations from 2.7 billion to 1.5 billion and still growing. It has gained significant momentum in advancing Kentucky. Please join me in welcoming President Capilouto.
Thank you, Tanya. And I really regret that Ian can't be with us today. So please pass on our appreciation and regards, and we hope everything works out well. Thank you also for recognizing some of the leaders within the teams at the Office of Technology Commercialization. I think what we're going to witness today is another extraordinary testimony to how productive and effective everybody's been in this regard. And I'd also like to thank Beyond the Office, our Alumni Association. They're our host for this event as well. And I take particular pleasure in recognizing my predecessor, Dr. Lee Todd, who's been indispensable in the role we play in discovery. Excuse me if you've heard this story before, but I enjoy retelling it. It had to be, well, I've been here 11 years. So probably 17, 18 years ago, I attended a higher education conference in Washington, D.C. It was one of those ones you could select which sessions you wanted to attend. I was particularly attracted to one that had a presentation by a president about a top 20 business plan. That turned out to be Dr. Todd. I remember where I sat in the audience, and I remember being so impressed. It made a difference to me when I was called 6, 7 years later about the opportunities at the University of Kentucky for this position to succeed Dr. Todd. I'd have to say that the first thing that came to my mind was Dr. Todd and the impression he made on me. I also have to reflect that 2 or 3 years ago, when we got the largest grant in our history, I was called to Washington, D.C. to be part of the Secretary of Health's announcement of that. We had some 20 faculty from 9 different colleges. I called Dr. Todd the night before to let him know, but to also tell him that all those faculty came to UK during his tenure. So it's a reminder, and with appreciation, that we should all remember that we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. And I want to thank Dr. Todd for his many contributions. Also like to say he taught us that it would be a disservice to Kentucky if we dreamed too little dreams. He had big, big dreams for Kentucky. And then Davis Marksberry, so glad to see that he's being recognized with the Lee T. Todd Jr. Lifetime Achievement Award. When I arrived in Kentucky 11 years ago, he had an incredible reputation as a serial entrepreneur. I think he's really birthed 3 different companies. But I met Davis along with Dr. Todd when we honored him with the naming of a building here. And we so appreciate his generosity in sharing his successes, not only with the University of Kentucky, but with so many worthy organizations in our community. Our region and our broader Commonwealth are well known, certainly for agriculture, equine and bourbon, and the University of Kentucky. We also have a booming healthcare industry, and we have pioneering new innovations that Tanya mentioned. We've become this hub of technology and entrepreneurship. So in addition to the workforce we create for Kentucky and the service we render through our historic land grant mission and UK healthcare, our research enterprise helps transform this state as well. For those of you who may not have noticed, I appreciate Dr. Cassis sending out her periodic updates. In fiscal year 2020, our research activity yielded some $400 and nearly $20 million in external support. That translates into a $772 million impact on the Kentucky economy. It produces, through that initial research and then the consequences of that research in and around our community, some 4,400 jobs. Tanya has mentioned how we've translated some of those discoveries. They start with our patent assets. We have a little over 800 of those. We had 157 new patent applications and 22 new patents issued in fiscal year 21. That, to me, I think is a tribute to the creativity and energy of our faculty. And that's the beginning of the pipeline for this commercialization. So I thank all our faculty. We take advantage of something that is unique. We're one of only 8 universities that has on a contiguous campus this rich array of disciplines. It's deep and it's broad, and that intersection of the disciplines, so much goes on there, but it takes a culture of collaboration and partnership. So I am most appreciative as UK's president to see that, because it takes everybody to make that possible. So I'm excited about the UK Entrepreneur Showcase. I've looked ahead at the topics. I see it's going to be great subject matter for me. My responsibility is to tell wonderful stories about how the University of Kentucky impacts our community. And I'm going to have more stories to tell. So I want to close with my remarks with deep appreciation. I'm so glad to hear Tanya talk about those startups. I know we have 60 active ones and 3 created just in the last year. Launch Blue is doing an incredible job moving forward our spirit of ingenuity and innovation. So thank you all so much. I am going to turn my screen off for a moment where I adjust. So I'm going to enjoy my lunch, which is a protein bar, and sit back and really take notes on sort of these new commercializations that are on their way. So Tanya, thank you, and thank everyone.
Thank you so much, President Capilouto, for those wonderful words. We appreciate you so much being here and for your support. It is now my honor and privilege to introduce the UK alumni faculty, entrepreneurs, and innovators for their presentations. And we'll start first with Ardra Kachru.
Good afternoon. I'm Ardra Kachru. I'm faculty in the Department of Plant Pathology in the College of Agriculture, Food and Environment. And I'm going to tell you about our company Phytogenesis, where we're developing products for use in the agriculture sector. Okay, so what if I told you that you could take a vaccine, a single vaccine when you were a child, and that one vaccine could protect you throughout your lifetime against a variety of diseases? Well, unfortunately, there's no such vaccine. But on the next slide, you'll see that we're trying to, the products that we're developing will have similar effects in plants. So our products are being developed as single applications that have broad spectrum efficacy against a variety of pathogens that are effective in a broad range of crops and other horticulturally important plants. And most importantly, these are plant-based products that have very low soil retention, and so they're environmentally safe. So on the next slide, please. So what is the need for such a product? Well, I'm sure that many of you are aware that the agriculture disease management industry is worth billions of dollars. And you'll see this image is an example of the types of diseases that we see here in Kentucky. Photo credit to my colleague, Dr. Bradley in Princeton. So the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations estimated that in 2021 alone, the global loss to crop diseases was over $200 billion. So every producer, as they begin their planting season, must make a lot of decisions on how they're going to manage diseases, which means they have to predict what potential diseases they're going to encounter. They have to then develop a strategy for what chemistries they're going to apply, how many times they're going to apply those, and all of that adds to the production costs. And this is what we're trying to take away, reduce the angst about deciding what chemistries to add and trying to reduce the cost for production. Next slide. So in the past 20 years here in the College of Ag, we've been focused on understanding the molecular mechanisms of the plant immune response. And in particular, we're studying a process that is systemic in nature. This is unique to plants which don't have a circulatory system. What happens is when in this type of process, when you have an initial infection by a primary pathogen, it results in the production of certain molecules within the plant, which then travel to the rest of the plant and prepare that plant, sort of warn it against future infections from a broad range of pathogens. And very recently, we identified a key molecule in this process. And this is what we're developing. Next slide, please. This is what we're developing for commercial use through Phytogenesis. So here's an example of a field trial from 2021 in Quickstamp, Kentucky. On your left, you'll see untreated plants. So these were soybean plants that were planted in a field that had existing disease pressure from 3 fungal pathogens. And hopefully you can see the difference between the untreated and the treated plants. The treated plants look much healthier and do not show any disease symptoms. And on the next slide, you'll see the middle row, the row in the center, is the plants that have been treated with our product. And hopefully you can see the difference in height, and that then translates to difference in yield. And on the next slide, you'll see efficacy of this in corn against a fungal pathogen and in tobacco against a viral pathogen. We know that the product works against soil pathogens, against bacterial diseases, and we've tried this in vegetables and other crops also. Next slide. And so this is phytogenesis. We are developing plant-based compounds as safe and environmentally friendly alternatives to the use of fungicides and pesticides for producers. Our team, on the next slide, is Garrett is our CEO, Ken is our CFO, Pradeep and I are the inventors, and both faculty at UK. We're serving in a scientific advisory role. Henry, Emmy, and Jamie are our investing partners, and Henry also serves as our chief officer for agriculture. On the next slide, we are located in the Coldstream campus. We just rented the space and we're setting it up. Our address and contact details are on this slide, so please feel free to reach out. We have space, greenhouse space and field space rented at the Wells Farm in Lexington right now, and we're looking to hire at least 2 research personnel to get started. Thank you. The next slide, yes. Thank you for listening.
Hi, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rhett Lindsay, and I will be talking about my startup, CME. Next slide. Our current system for hiring is broken. Next slide. Companies spend around $11 billion annually on recruiting, but still disregard 75% of resumes. This results in extremely low response rates and a lack of diverse talent being seen for opportunities. But, why is this? Well, the biggest disconnect is caused by bias. Next slide. Bias that affects every single person, recruiters and job seekers alike. And as someone that's worked as a recruiter at companies like Facebook and Tinder, I've witnessed this firsthand. Bias including people's names, their race, their gender, social media photos, sexuality, education, user experience, cultural fit, age, are being misused by recruiters and machines to screen out even the most qualified, exceptional candidates. Next slide. Historical bias is ingrained in the foundation of recruiting and hiring in the form of resumes, flawed data analytics, and keyword matching algorithms. And just as recruiters and hiring leaders cannot act as machines, machines cannot see humanity. Next slide. But we're changing that by introducing CME, a recruiting platform that's designed to change the way people are seen and recruited by bringing humanity back into hiring. CME is free for job seekers and subscription-based for employers. Next slide. So what CME does, it eliminates the baggage around traditional resumes and replaces flawed AI by bringing users' background and interest to opportunities to the forefront. CME highlights skills and shared values first by connecting job seekers and employers directly with a one-to-one mutual match while pushing the most common historical biases to the back. Next slide. Additionally, we're building sociological research to further understand and expand how job seekers want to be evaluated in today's world, muting cattle call applications, improving human-to-human connections, and ending unsolicited outreach while exchanging insights and learning with our clients to further expand inclusive recruiting efforts. Next slide. When it comes to competitive advantage, CME excels in all crucial areas where our competitors might lack. Next slide. CME is creating a space that allows us to create real human connections in hiring. We all want to be seen, acknowledged, and valued for who we are. So be seen. Be seen for who you are with CME. Next slide. Feel free to contact us at our website or contact me directly. Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. I like that title, Faculty Innovator. That's actually what we do in the College of Design. So thanks for the opportunity to share some of the design research that we're conducting in the School of Architecture around homelessness. Next slide. In the fall 21 semester, I conducted a funded, thank you, Don Witt and Kentucky Masonry Institute and Franklin Gray and the Sustainability Challenge Grant for funding that, but a funded undergraduate design build studio that focused on providing shelter and basic needs for homeless individuals and families. We began the studio by looking at precedents and trying to understand the problem that we hope to address. We discovered early on that homelessness was a very complex issue, and I think in contemporary terms, it's called a wicked problem. But on December the 10th, 2021, tornadoes hit Western Kentucky, and the design problem shifted from abstract academic exercise to a very real problem that needed to be addressed. Some of the students in the studio actually had families in the region that was impacted by that. Okay, next slide. Through our architectural programming, we identified causes and stages of homelessness, as well as various sites and climate conditions that might drive the design. We ultimately looked at meeting basic human needs. Those would be physiological, psychological, and actually, I should add to this side, sociological needs. Okay. We focused on 4 stages of homelessness and developed prototypes to meet those specific needs. So actually 2 teams worked on a portable shelter that was literally on wheels that could be either pulled by a bicycle or pushed around and then parked in the evening and then opened up and deployed to provide shelter through the night. The pods and core solution basically developed bedrooms that would set around a core element that would provide some of the basic human needs. And that's one we'll focus on today. And then mixed modular starter, or a fixed modular starter home, was a self-contained, very small, essentially tiny house. And we'll look at that again today. And then manufactured housing was another group's task. And that was an off-site manufactured home, multi-family or multi-bedroom home that would be brought to the site on a trailer and set on a foundation. Okay. All right. The concept behind the pods and core solution is to rapidly deploy a community of pods or bedrooms around a common core. The pods provide usable space, a warm and secure place to sleep and to store belongings. The core would provide for hygiene, food preparation, information, and access to transportation. The core might also be a designed unit, but we also see it as the core as a school or a church or a library that these could array around. Kind of think of it as circling the wagons around a campfire as people migrated west in the 1800s. Okay. The starter home or modular starter home uses 8x8 modules that can be configured differently in response to the needs of the end user and various site conditions. Each of the 3 modules performs specific functions for the whole. The intent is to provide all basic domestic needs within the unit. And if you look at this slide, you can see the 3 8x8 units. There's a living room unit, then a mechanical module that has a kitchen, a shower and toilet and lavatory, and then a niche there for a laundry. And then there's a sleeping module that has a loft bed and then space for storage and or a desk below. And then you see to the right how they are joined together. That is actually the one that we built on site. But it is adaptable in that if you have a wider site, you can create a duplex back to back. You see that on the top on the left-hand side. A 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom unit. Okay. The starter home is intended to be very sustainable and environmentally friendly. It can be fitted with solar electric, water harvesting and storage, solar water heating. It can be fitted with a green wall for vertical farming, and there are a lot more sustainable features involved in that. Next slide. I envision the units being purchased by, or actually built by, government agencies such as FEMA, non-government organizations such as Red Cross or Habitat for Humanity to meet housing needs, and even as individuals for auxiliary dwelling units. They're designed to be low cost, easily deployed, and most of all, humane and comfortable. The students, I want to give them credit for this. They had a tremendous workload through the semester. They took a concept They did the research. They did conceptual work. They took that into design development. Then that all happened within the first 2 or 3 weeks. They took to the field, and we dealt with budgets, supply chain issues. They constructed these. No one got hurt, seriously hurt. And then in the end, they developed marketing brochures, and that's what you saw on the last slide. And I want to thank you for allowing me to present this today. And if you're interested, there's my contact information, and I'd love to speak with you more about this. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Aaron Petty, and I'm the CEO of Mitivate. Next slide, please. Mitivate is a healthcare analytics organization focusing on the consumer and financial engagement process to facilitate value-based payments. So I'll give you a brief overview about who I am. I'm actually was raised in Lexington, Kentucky. 2009 Lafayette High School graduated from Gatton in 2013. And UK really gave me the opportunity to pursue my entrepreneurial dreams. So I actually started 3 companies there. 2 didn't go too well. 1 was pretty successful. Post-grad, I moved down to Atlanta, and I've been working in the finance, corporate M&A, and private equity markets until I launched Mitivate in 2018. So Mitivate is located in Atlanta, Georgia. We're an ATDC company. The Signature Stage was their top stage. We were recently chosen as a 2021 Endeavor Scale-Up ATL company. Next slide, please. So what are we working on? We're working on value-based care. Value-based care is a premise that the healthcare ecosystem needs to move away from a volume-based payment system to a more outcome-driven payment system. How do we know that's working? Next slide, please. So, in order for value-based care to work, we have to align care the correct way. We have to quantify how much misaligned care that there currently is within the healthcare ecosystem. Currently, there's about 3 to 10% of our annual healthcare spend can be allocated for misaligned care. This constitutes around $370 billion on an annual basis. Next slide, please. So obviously, healthcare leaders and the ecosystem as a whole wants to move away from all of these issues more towards a value-based way of paying for healthcare. However, there are a myriad of different issues when trying to implement new technologies on a fee-for-service infrastructure, which we currently have. So healthcare payers and administrators have multiple issues, primarily verifying the payments. They need to be able to actually measure a doctor's effectiveness by validated patient outcomes. And they need to be able to evaluate these risk-based contracts or alternative payment model contracts with a multitude of different providers. Next slide, please. So we come in and we help everything work. Our SaaS platform allows for both sides to monitor risk-based agreements, verify the payments, and evaluate and facilitate any clinically generated data. Our Care Advocate team actually reaches out to patients in real time to extract clinical measures and populate that information to both providers and payers so both entities can understand the patient's treatment process during a specific episode of care. This allows for the entirety of the healthcare ecosystem to save on payment costs throughout the entirety of a patient's treatment or episode of care. Next slide, please. So who do we work with? We primarily work with employers and health insurers, and we really partner with providers. We look at ourselves as a two-sided ecosystem or marketplace, that allows for both sides to collaborate and envision the next step of healthcare. Next slide, please. Thank you. If you have any questions or you want to learn more about what we're doing, feel free to reach out. We're hiring and growing very quickly. Thank you for your time.
Hello, I am Deshauna Collette. Good afternoon. I'm a professor in the Physician Assistant Studies program. I also serve as the current University Senate Council Chair. Next. So my product that I have here is called Metiskin. So it's a realistic human skin model that provides an opportunity to expand and improve competencies and clinical skills while also acknowledging that not all patient care occurs in one setting or on one patient type. Next. So just currently, there's a problem out there in the current world when we're looking at how do we train our current clinicians or even keep clinicians up to date that are out there practicing. And some of that involves around just teaching clinical skills. So the problems that we have seen that have occurred with skin task trainers or that they're low quality. So you can see here, sometimes we, maybe use foam, or we're using a banana or pig's feet or chicken skin or some sort of sponge-like material. Most trainers that are out there currently on the market are usually single use, or they can only be used for one procedural function, such as just suturing and not IND abscess or IV placement. And the other thing is that the current models that are out there is not representative of the patient population in which we serve. So we have to consciously be aware of whether we are subconsciously perpetuating inequities or biases in our pedagogical methodologies as we're teaching clinical students to be clinicians. Other problems that we've seen is that there's some issues around just purchasing, bulk purchasing, and having the option to make different type of purchases, whether you want to make it with instruments, without instruments, combining it with educational products such as videos. So that's what we currently see out in the market. Next slide. So for my team, we solved our own problem. We created our own product, and it's called Metaskin. So this product is not a one-off. This product is a platform that has multiple applications. It has multiple layers that mimic the true layers of human skin, and supports the delivery of equitable care. So you can see that the skin is in several different skin tones. We can also actually ultrasound our skin. So you can see an ultrasound picture there of the skin, the subcutaneous layer and the muscle layer. And it's versatile. So, we've been able to use it for IND abscess, IV or phlebotomy technology, right? As you can see with the tubing that's been placed within the model. Next slide. So what we've done in the interim is we've done a lot of customer interviews, and we continue to do customer interviews. We have about 33 customer discovery interviews right now. And they have been with individuals who are users in the classroom, and also those responsible for making final decisions, making decisions in as far as purchasing. So those are students, clinical instructors, program directors, chairs of departments. All of these three customer segments are influencers, and they pretty much will drive the product purchase and repurchase. So next slide. Some of the customer feedback that we've gotten, which you can see here, but we've really discovered some patterns within our customer feedback. Students are really wanting those products to be portable. So how easy is it for me to take it from place to place? Can I use it on clinical rotation, take it home? Can I stick it in my white coat, in my pocket, or take it on a road trip? They want it to be easily purchased through websites so they can directly get, the product. And they also want a cost-efficient product. Instructors, who we've heard from, they want a product that lasts, the entire length of the program. So they're not repurchasing for the same cohort of students every year. They wanted it to at least purchase it up front when they come in, and then it lasts throughout the program. So they want a longer shelf life. They also have indicated that they want something that's cost effective, and they've indicated that they wanted a product that included diverse skin tones. Usually what you've seen out in the market is a very dark skin tone and a very light skin tone, and you have a choice of two. And they've also indicated different skin types as well. So as we look at our gerontology, our geriatric population skin that mimics more of a fragile or less tuber within the skin tone. Our program directors have also noted and mentioned purchasing products in bulk. They've indicated that they like the option of having products that have different skin tones. Again, same sort of thing. So all of these are very similar from the student, the instructors, and the program directors. Quality was also at the top of those customer interviews. They wanted something of quality that was realistic. Next. So our business opportunity, I think it's important to note again that this is a platform, not a one-off product. Our team has been wanting to create a startup company. So we've researched current products on the market. We believe there's a business opportunity to improve on the existing products that are out there. We know that customers aren't satisfied with the current products on the market, and they want something cost-effective that's diverse in aesthetics and also well-functioning and multifunctional. Next. So my team, we believe in this product. Myself and my partner, Sam Paldro, we are both faculty members. Sam is emeritus out of the PA program as well. We're both practicing PA clinicians. So we see a need in both areas. We think our scan provides an opportunity to improve competency in performing clinical skills, and particularly amongst those diverse populations. And I think I have one more. Our next step right now, we're doing some marketing and reaching out to potential partners. So our goal is to package this scan with video, so educational material, which we are copywriting. We have also created a marketing abstract, and we're reaching out to companies just to gauge their interest in licensing the technology. We've identified several potential partnering companies that provide some similar educational products, such as Skills on Point, Medscape. We are currently getting an MTA to one of the R1 universities, another PA program that's across the way in Washington. And we're going to send an MVP with all 5 skin tones, including a carrier case. So again, that portability piece. We will also have that product will be accompanied by the videos for the scan, and we're creating some assessment-based tools to gather some significant feedback from those customers. Next. So as we're in the process of developing our company and creating it and making sure that we have a trade name that is gender neutral, because we really do believe in this product, but we want to still give it that human element. We are at a point where we're ready to, continue to look for future partnerships and continually develop our product even more. So I thank you for your time. And if this is something that you're interested in, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Sanders, and I am the co-founder and COO of Native AI. Next slide, please. So I wanted to first talk about innovation. It's been a minute or so here, and last year I had the opportunity and privilege to speak at the PNC Innovation Summit. Wanted to recycle a slide because it was specific to the University of Kentucky, specifically the Gatton College of Business, where I graduated from. Next slide. Oh, it's missing. I think you skipped one. Maybe not. Can we go back one? Okay. It's missing. We will skip that portion then. I had quotations from Dean Sheether and others, but specifically, what does innovation mean to them? But I'll move on and say, what does innovation mean to me? Since becoming a student and becoming an entrepreneur, I've worked for several high growth tech startups, 2 of which one has gone public for over $1 billion. The other is going public here soon, next month. But then after and thereafter, I was excited to start something of my own. So what do we serve? We innovate within the CPG industry, the consumer packaged goods industry, and specifically we started within food and beverage. We work with consumer packaged goods such as packaged meats, cereals, sparkling beverages, alcoholic beverages, and soon we'll move into cannabis, fashion, cosmetics, things like that and beyond. And what we help them with specifically is an untapped portion of the market. And we use artificial intelligence to help brands better understand their consumers, and consumers feel like they're better heard by brands, making sure there's a better match for products that are on the market and giving consumers what they actually want. So consumers leave footprints of information all over the web, especially as they begin to order more and more online. So they leave reviews on Amazon, Whole Foods, Target, Walmart. They leave it all over social media, direct to consumer platforms like Shopify also host them. So what we do is gather consumer sentiment and insights directly from these sources. Well, how would we do that? Next slide, please. Basically, we've built out proprietary scraping engines. So we go scrape this information, review by review, product by product across the web. We use a certain form of artificial intelligence called natural language processing, otherwise known as NLP. And I know this image is small, but this is a screenshot from our platform. So we assign sentiment analysis to each of these reviews. You can see this first one here is labeled neutral, positive, negative. Well, how is it doing that? Essentially, it is reading mass amounts of information exactly like a human would, aggregating that into a dashboard. It is not perfect. No artificial intelligence is perfect, but it's pretty darn good. And it helps big brands like Hormel, emerging brands like Milk Bar use our product and better understand consumers when they are trying to manage more and more information on a day-to-day basis. Next slide, please. Another screenshot of the platform is we help them intelligently report this information. So not only can they review it, but we assign sentiment analysis, and it tells them a little bit about your brand perception. For food and beverage brand in particular, we're gonna mark them on freshness, flavor, packaging, value for money, things that are really important to consumers. Will they buy it once? Will they buy it again? What would make them buy other variations of our product? How are we performing as a brand or as a product compared to competitors in the marketplace? And, ultimately, how does that make people feel? Next slide, please. So I wanted to highlight specifically a Kentucky company, an emerging brand that's growing like crazy, that's based out of Louisville. Focus is a clean alternative to energy drinks. It's natural energy from L-theanine, which is a product of green tea. So it doesn't give you jitters. It has clean ingredients, non-artificial flavors, things like that other brands don't have. And they're really creating a new category. So what we've done is take a lot of the consumer popular mentions, words like bubbly, words like, flavor and things like this, and seeing what people are truly saying. And how can we optimize the words that people use to search and find new products like this on Amazon? To best optimize their product on the e-commerce platforms that exist. So we've seen, in terms of a quick case study, 121% increase in product views, 34% in add to carts, 15% in increased revenue, which is huge for this brand. And it's only the beginning for them. Next slide, please. So all in all, brands like that from Kentucky, entrepreneurs like myself, and the university as a whole have quite a bit of innovation. It's been amazing to see what everyone is building here in the state of Kentucky. Thank you.
Entrepreneurs and innovators for all that wonderful information. I would like to ask, and I'll start with Sarah since she just finished, if you could talk a little bit about what inspired you to be an innovator and entrepreneur, and then I'll call on the next person.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, my presentation was a little scattered. I think my slides got a little out of order. But what inspired me? I am at least a third generation entrepreneur. So I always had people around me to look to for role models, but it was something I also prioritized outside of my family, to spend time with people that I saw as innovators, whether that was in a business environment, an educational environment, anywhere you can really find an innovation. I made sure that I was constantly networking and trying to get in front of people I really admired. And it's amazing. If you put in that effort and consistently, people will really talk to you. I have a couple of people I can point to specifically that are involved with the university, right at my back door, that I reached out to and gave me the confidence and the tools that sometimes you don't always find in the classroom. Most of which I did, a great foundational business education, but I think it's leveraging a network. Gave me the confidence to step across the finish line and actually do it. it makes you feel kind of crazy for a moment when you actually take the leap into entrepreneurship and not having a paycheck sometimes, especially when you get started and raising money and asking people for a lot of money. It's a wild journey, but I would say the people around me definitely didn't do this alone.
Thank you, Sarah. Deshauna, could you answer the same question?
I would say, you said what inspired me. I would say really it's our students, seeing what was out in the market, and I'm really pretty much involved quite a bit in cultural competency and DEI work, and seeing the lack of diversity in the products that we were getting with our skills trainers really prompted me to kind of push in this direction. And my students still are, I believe, probably the number one, sector of folks who have really pushed me to do more of this, and their feedback has just been amazing for me, and how much it has helped them. But also them, in a sense, recognizing, being global citizens, they're recognizing a lot more things, and it's opened their eyes to kind of the disparities that we see are with our task trainers and how we're training, and you're not just seeing one type of person or one type of patient, and this has definitely been something that I won't probably ever stop doing, and probably more products as I move along in my thought process and innovation will kind of encompass this piece of bringing diversity into this space.
Wonderful. Thank you. Bruce?
Well, my personal belief is that if anyone has a gift or talent, they should use it to serve other people. And so Design Build is a perfect fit. We're able to go out and to the community and actually address the land grant institution mission to serve others or serve the Commonwealth. But on top of that, it's a fantastic learning experience for the students. They're able to take something that a concept that they had in their head, and actually go out and make that and live in it and work in it. Again, I think architecture is a noble profession. We create safe environments, useful environments, and hopefully beautiful environments. So that's sort of my driver and the rewarding part of what I do.
Thank you. Aaron?
Thank you. Yeah, ultimately, I think it really came down to helping the healthcare ecosystem. I truly believe value-based care is going to give patients the opportunity to save money while receiving better care. And I wanted to be a part of that process and help both Fortune 100 companies and small providers, give them the capabilities for this to actually work. So it just ended up being a passion of mine, trying to help people within the healthcare ecosystem and aligned with what we believe is the future of healthcare. So it's fun every day, learning and growing, and just thankful that we're in a hot space, and we're doing very well.
Thank you. Ardra?
Okay, it's a little not as noble. My reasons are not as noble as the previous ones. So we have 2 patents since we've been at UK, and ever since we filed the first patent, which was back in 2009, I don't think the OTC was called OTC back then, I'm not sure, but there was definitely a department that was dedicated to commercialization. And they contacted me as soon as the patent was filed, and they followed through, encouraging me to try to commercialize this, which never happened. But really, like this new patent that we had and the technology that we're developing, I don't think we would actually have this company without the folks at OTC. They pushed me, encouraged me to be part of the LaunchBlue cohort, and things just sort of like fell in place after that. And so I'm a lab scientist. I'm stuck in my lab. I do my research, and yes, I see all the applications, but it's a far cry from actually developing something to be a product. So for me, big thanks to OTC.
Thank you, Ardra and Rhett.
I would have to say it was really recognizing that unconscious or conscious bias truly does affect every single person in this world. And working within the recruitment and human resource departments professionally, I just recognized and experienced the frustrations from job seekers and also from employers. They both want the same thing. They both want a common goal of success, but there's a lot of barriers that are placed systematically, socially, to really weed out people to fit a certain box to be considered the right candidate. And so it's really unboxing these traumatic placers that we have of how we evaluate talent that really sparked me to want to step out on faith, quit my salaried full-time position at a major tech company and to really see me through. I'm fully committed to it, and I understand the value and the mission of my startup. And I recognize that people resonate with it. I recognize that people have some type of similar experience where they've been limited on a job opportunity, or a company has had an experience where they're limited on people being hired or applying to their company and having successful interviews. So creating a platform that can serve both markets, both the employers and job seekers, has been really rewarding. And I'm just looking forward to scaling this startup and seeing where we go.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for sharing your entrepreneurial and innovative endeavors with us. We really appreciate you being here. So thank you very much. And we will now move to Tanya Phillips to do her introduction of Dr. Todd. You're on mute, Tanya.
Thank you. What a remarkable display of entrepreneurial talent by UK alumni and faculty innovators. I'm just really inspired by all of you guys, and I'm so excited to see where you go individually and where your companies go in the future. And thank you for being with us here today. At this time, I would like to introduce Dr. Lee Todd, who will present the Lee T. Todd Jr. Lifetime Achievement in Entrepreneurship Award. Dr. Todd was the 11th president of the University of Kentucky, and he served in that capacity for 10 years. Dr. Todd received his Bachelor of Science degree in Electrical Engineering from the University of Kentucky and his Master of Science and doctoral degrees from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where he received 6 U.S. patents in the field of large screen projection displays. Dr. Todd returned to UK, where he served 9 years as an electrical engineering professor. In 1984, he left the university and began 2 technology companies based on his patented research activities. The first company, Projectron, developed high-resolution projection CRTs for the flight simulation industry and was purchased by Hughes Aircraft, making Dr. Todd the vice president of Hughes Display Products. The second company, DataBeam, developed teleconferencing systems and software and was purchased by IBM in 1998. Dr. Todd became the senior vice president of IBM's Lotus Development Company and served in that capacity until coming back to the University of Kentucky as president. In addition to being an extremely successful entrepreneur, Dr. Todd has had at least 2 other missions, but I'm guessing more than that. But one is to improve science and mathematics instruction at all levels. And 2 is to enhance Kentucky's and America's entrepreneurial economy. In 1987, Dr. Todd co-founded, along with Chris Kimmel, the Kentucky Science and Technology Corporation, a not-for-profit organization focused on improving Kentucky's innovation economy. He served as chairman of KSTC until 2001. He also co-authored the initial proposal that resulted in Kentucky being selected as an EPSCoR state and served as the chair of the statewide EPSCoR committee for 10 years. He encouraged UK and Lexington Fayette County urban government to rezone UK's Coldstream Farm to allow it to become the UK Coldstream Research Campus that we have today. And he attracted Hughes Aircraft to become its first tenant. Dr. Todd served on a 22-member National Academies Committee on Research Universities that was charged by Congress to study the future of America's research universities and make recommendations for actions to ensure future international competitiveness, some of the things that we're thinking about today. Dr. Todd has received numerous, I can't even list them all, local and national awards for his technical work and entrepreneurship. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Lee Todd.
Well, thank you so much, Tanya. I appreciate this opportunity to hear from these excellent speakers. I admire their willingness to do what they're doing and wish them the very best. I want to thank you and Ian, too, for the work that OTC is doing to help them and to help the state of Kentucky. I can't go without saying thank you to Dr. Capilouto for his always graciousness to mention something that I have done prior to his coming. I will tell you that does not happen very often. A lot of times the president who takes a new position never mentions the predecessor. So, and I thank him too for his commitment to entrepreneurship and to facing and helping to solve the problems of Kentucky. It's my pleasure at this time to honor and recognize Davis Marksberry as the recipient of an award that bears my name. I'm very grateful for that. I could give this introduction by just listing the details regarding the companies he's founded, the products that they sold, and the awards that he's won. However, this award is not given to a company, it's given to a person. So I'm going to tell a little of his story. His story has to include his family because Davis, Beverly, and their family are perfect examples of what Kentucky needs in order to become a competitive state in today's economy. Davis' career achievements were a result of his early entrepreneurial spirit and his willingness to take on challenges. It's said that at 5 or 6 years old, he sold fresh vegetables from his family garden door to door. When he came to UK, he majored in engineering because he saw a presentation that said they were the most highly paid graduates. However, he did find it to be a very hard subject matter. Being what Davis was, he chose, however, to study under the toughest professors that the department offered, and he graduated magna cum laude. These circumstances and characteristics were paramount in his ability to found 3 companies in his home state. The companies developed products in the complex document publishing industry and sold them worldwide, had offices in many, many nations around the world. He hired hundreds of employees and provided creative and well-compensated jobs. Many of his employees were Kentuckians who have otherwise gone elsewhere to build their careers and rear their families. His operating principles provide guidance to others who aspire to create companies like the ones we've just heard from. He says that you'll be successful if your idea is better, if you execute well by focusing on customer and employee satisfaction, and if you outwork your competition. Further, he says that the key to execution is to surround yourself with outstanding management team members who are excellent and stronger than you are in their respective fields. Davis's first 2 companies were acquired by Pitney Bowes in 1996 and by Broadvision in 1998. Davis and Beverly could have taken the family to Florida, bought a boat, bought a beach house, and lived happily ever after. However, they didn't do that. In 1998, Davis and Dan Kloiber founded Extreme Software in the Marksberry's basement. There's no revenue in 98, 99, so he understands risk. But revenues grew greatly and reached $90 million by 2008. Hewlett-Packard acquired Extreme in 2008 and built a building on UK's Coldstream Research Campus to hire more than 300 employees. What happened next is what rounds out the Marksberry story. Davis and Beverly formed the Marksberry Family Foundation in 2009, initially to primarily give back to UK. Their first action was a $6 million donation that was matched with Bucks for Brains funds and also attracted donations from other UK engineering alumni to construct the Davis Marksbury building located on Rose Street. That building presently houses some of the most innovative research activities at UK in the areas of visualization, computer science, and electrical and computer engineering. Their foundation has now expanded to focus on innovative projects that result in sustainable and measurable growth for individuals, communities, and local economies across all of Kentucky. Davis has been recognized as a regional winner of the 2003 Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award. And twice, he was a finalist for Inc. Magazine's Entrepreneur of the Year Award. In addition, he was inducted into the initial class of the Kentucky Entrepreneur Hall of Fame in 2010. So in closing, the Marksbury formula that needs to be replicated for the good of the state of Kentucky is to study hard, take on challenges with risk, to build a team to drive success, to outwork your competitors, and then to give back. Davis, it's an honor to recognize you with this award and to thank you invariably and your family for what you have done with your success. Congratulations and thank you.
I remember well back in the 1980s attending a talk by Dr. Todd where he was espousing the virtues of Projectron to a very large room full of potential investors. It was eye-opening for me, as this was surely one of the first in Kentucky. So thank you, Dr. Todd. This award is very special. Once upon a time, when I was a senior at Harrison County High School, my teachers would often ask me what I planned to do in life. My answer was always, I'm going to invent something and become wealthy. They always seemed perplexed. I suppose I could have told them that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I doubt that any of us would have known what that meant. It was an aspiration that began when I was very young, and its genesis, I believe, was my grandparents, who were sharecroppers, and their dream to make a better life for the family. I learned how to be an entrepreneur while building our first two companies. And perhaps the most important lesson was to dream bigger, to have big, audacious goals. So in 1998, when we launched Extreme, we set our sights on becoming the #1 software company in the world in electronic document automation. We knew that the market was fragmented and slow and ripe for disruption. So of course, we ignored the industry analysts who told us that we were crazy. Everyone already has a document system, they said. And besides, there's no way that you can compete with all the large companies in this market. Never mind that we would need to reinvent the entire document process. And never mind that the initial product design included 14 inventions that we weren't quite sure were possible. And never mind that it would take at least 2 years before we would have anything to sell. And of course, never mind that we had no outside funding. I doubt that anyone would have given us any anyway. In 2000, IBM was one of the first companies to actually see our finished product. And one of their initial comments was, there's no way that this can be real. The industry has taken 25 years to get to this place. I remember we just smiled because we knew it was real and we were off to the races. And by 2006, we had become the #1 software company somehow. And Extreme is still going strong today. We had so many great people at Extreme who embraced the challenges and gave so much to achieve the many things that the experts believed impossible. They made all the difference. Certainly, we could not have done it without them. Today's enthusiasm for entrepreneurs is testament to the bright future at Kentucky. Just consider that investors are betting big that innovation in the next 10 years will be twice what it has been in the prior 10. And that's just amazing to me. Every market and every industry will be disrupted. And the biggest winners will be those visionaries who can drive the greatest transformations. It will be a great opportunity for Kentucky. Creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship certainly will play a major role and a critical role in Kentucky's future economy. And so will having big, audacious goals. I can't wait to see the crazy things that we come up with next. Thank you again, Dr. Todd, and thank you, UK. I appreciate this very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Don Witt. I'm the Assistant Vice President here at the University of Kentucky, and I have the honor of providing closing remarks for today's program. First, we want to thank President Capilouto and former President Lee T. Todd Jr. for being a part of today's virtual event. We also want to thank our collaborative partners from the Office of Technology Commercialization, Ian McClure, Tanya Phillips, and Jackie Green. I think we can all agree that the presentations today represent the best in entrepreneurship and innovation, represented so well in the various disciplines, academic colleges, associated research across the academy and beyond. We also extend our thanks to our incredible speakers today, Ardra, Rhett, Bruce, Aaron, Deshauna, and Sarah. And a special congratulations to Davis Marksbury Jr. for being awarded the Lee T. Todd Jr. Lifetime Achievement for Entrepreneurship Award. As we conclude today's program, we can see through collaboration, such as the collaborative work that we see with the Office of Philanthropy, the Office of Technology Commercialization, and the UK Alumni Association, we can reach new heights and momentum with the best in innovation and entrepreneurship. Thank you all for joining us today, and that concludes our program. Thank you.